Hey, everybody, welcome to our conversation with a WashU alum working in sports. And it's my great pleasure to speak with Nate Liberman of TIXR. Nate is the VP of Sport and got some great things to share with us about his experience at TIXR, as well as his transition from where he had been to TIXR. So Nate, thanks so much for joining us. It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too, Dr. Pete.
So tell us, first of all, what your day-to-day is like at TIXR.
It's fairly new for me. I've been with TIXR for 6 months now. So it's been really a unique opportunity because I'm effectively inside of a 10-year-old company, but building a startup in the sports industry. So it's a lot of variability day to day. One day I'm out talking to prospective properties and teams and showing a little bit about the technology and what we've built. The next day it's recruiting staff, and the next day it's working with our engineering and product team to make sure that we're optimizing our system for this new vertical for TIXR. My primary focus is definitely on the business development side of the equation. So the majority of my time is working with my team. I've got a handful of sales execs that I work with that are out cultivating leads and introducing ourselves to the sports industry.
Nate, show us a little bit, if you could share a little bit of how one would navigate the TIXR page to maybe illustrate a little bit better of what's going on with the website and with the product.
I think one of the things that TIXR's done and tried to differentiate ourselves from the marketplace is around building a much more elegant look and feel and a modern e-commerce stack. So a big part of the look and feel and the differentiator between TIXR and other systems is, going from client to client, each page is got its own look and feel, and it allows the consumer to start to experience the excitement and the vibrancy of the individual event that they're planning to attend. So in this example, this is the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. They have 2 events, so not like a full season of calendar events. It's just 2 weekend or 1 big weekend of festival kind of motorsports races. The other thing that TIXR prides itself on is being able to sell beyond the ticket. So in addition to selling the weekend reserve, Sunday reserve, general admission passes, VIP experiences, we're able to sell merchandise, parking, live stream video content, all in one ecosystem. So it's really a core differentiator to our product and portfolio. We can build out really elegant, customized maps that show exactly where the consumer is getting their tickets. There's view from seat right in the experience. And I think one of the other key things about the site itself that's really important in the commerce world is that you need it fast, you need speed. The consumers this day require like an on-demand experience. And if you can serve them in a checkout experience and a flow that's really fast and seamless, it allows for a higher conversion rate. And that's something that's been largely held back in the ticketing world, is the conversion rates of platforms that are out there in the marketplace have not focused as much energy on that core differentiator. And the reality is it's probably the most important thing.
Explain a little bit more what you mean by conversion rate.
Yeah, so basically what the market in the e-commerce world looks at conversion is the number of traffic that lands on your platform and your page, and divide that by the number of those people that actually purchased. So if you have on average, Google and Black Type Digital did an analysis of the ticketing industry, and they found that only 1 to 2% of consumers that landed on a ticketing platform actually were converting to purchase. There's a lot of factors in why people don't buy that first time, but 1 to 2% is really, really bad in this landscape. And TIXR's converting at the highest percentage of any ticketing platform out there in existence right now, at about 6% on average. And we have clients that have done a really good job of using A/B testing to move things around in their flow, and are converting at upwards of 15%. So, it makes your marketing dollars go farther. It speaks to, a handful of factors that are really important to make this a seamless experience for the consumer, and how they can get in, check out quickly, pick their seats. And then the other thing that's really key, but you can see it's optimized for mobile look and feel. And again, super quick and easy to select your seats, jump in, reserve your seats, and get to the checkout flow in a very fast manner.
So Nate, if you were to summarize the competitive advantage that this product has over what else is currently existing in the marketplace, what would be those characteristics and attributes that set you guys apart?
Two things: ability to sell more than just tickets. The industry's been shifting. There's been a very much a move away from the traditional season ticket to more flexible environments. So whether that's a subscription model or a flex package, or a mini plan, or even not even selling season tickets, but selling premium experiences that are cultivated and optimized from client to client and event to event. And so our flexibility in the architecture allows us to be a lot more adaptive to developing innovations than the legacy technology that's out there that's been kind of the gold standard for the industry. So, the flexibility of the environment. A lot of clients and prospective clients have been asking for more extensibility. They want to control the data. They want people to be able to sign on to just their website and then be able to purchase their tickets inside of that ecosystem and not have to log into another platform, another website. So that's where the industry is going, and TIXR is preparing itself to be at the avant-garde of all of that disruption.
Well, it's pretty exciting. And you mentioned that there's been a big shift for you working for a ticketing software company versus working on the team or the agency side. Can you tell us a little bit about that, just the different environment as you have made that career shift?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really good and good positive experience for my career. I think going back to my time talking to a lot of students, I always would harp on the fact that the sports industry is more than just the teams. And even just the agency. So I was fortunate enough to spend 18 years working for sports properties, whether it was with Kroenke Sports or with the Portland Timbers, and then most recently on the agency side working at OVG. But the reality was there's so much that goes into this ecosystem, and there's so many different industry peers. And I actually realized that I can make a greater impact on the efficacy and the strength of the sports industry by working on a product that's going to help yield higher returns for sports teams and sports properties. I worked on the partnership side of the equation for the majority of my career, and the passion I had was working on behalf of my clients, and that nuance, like day to day, working with a beer company, working with a hotel hospitality partner, working with a hospital provider, created that allowance for creativity and how I was able to approach every day. And with TIXR, the same thing has kind of resonated with me, is that what might be important to the Long Beach Grand Prix is not as important to somebody like Live Golf, which is not as important to like an esports operation that's doing more traveling destination events. So that's been a very much a exciting part of my transition into the ticketing world. And it's more in the software technology world. I think I would look at our company more as an engineering and a solutions provider than it is a sports and entertainment necessarily property.
We said that timing of this conversation today is interesting because I'm going to be speaking with a collection of people that work in the ticket sales and service world a little bit later today. And we mentioned that even recruiting people to work in ticketing today has become very complicated. Let's talk about that a little bit. And is there a way that TIXR's product, does that offer some kind of solution, or what do you think some solutions are to addressing some of these shortages that we're now seeing with respect to recruiting ticket sales staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one of the things that I've been talking to a lot of executives in the ticket sales world is the reality of the friction that's been built into the ecosystem and how people are transacting. Single event tickets have traditionally been sold online through their ticketing system, but everything else that is sold by a team, whether it's a suite or a season ticket or mini plan or group outing, has all been sold through the phone and through sales reps. And there's been a reason for that for a long time. And I think part of that reason is that the ticketing infrastructure from a systems standpoint weren't able or capable of actually selling those premium offerings. And because of that, most teams, what they'll do is put up a web form on their website. Somebody has to submit, even though they're ready to purchase that suite for that upcoming game. If they knew right away that, okay, this suite is available at this price point, they could transact. It still allows the team the opportunity to take advantage of their system, but then also focus more of their energy around upsell and leveraging their sales department and their customer service department to maximize the yield that they're getting from that buyer. So if somebody's ready to purchase, why get in the way of it? And technology can allow for the teams and venues to unlock that. And what that ultimately can do is limit the amount of people that you have to have answering phones on the desk, and really focus your energy on, you know, cultivating a really robust, strong team of sales reps that you can build and keep as part of your infrastructure. So long, it's been a churn factor. I know from my perspective, working on at Kroenke, where we had a massive sales team, there was just so much churn in the ticketing department year over year that it took up a ton of time and a ton of the strategy and the ideation time that the executive team could have been focused on. They were focused on recruiting young up and coming sales execs.
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully, again, this is something that people in the ticketing world are going to have to think about. And I think that having greater technology and more analytics is going to hopefully make that particular task a little bit different than it was back in the day, and maybe make it a little bit more attractive.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point there. The data is so important. And, you know, the sports industry has been very focused on attracting audiences through what I'd term walled gardens. So, you know, leveraging Facebook and social media is great from a marketing standpoint, but it's not as efficient as a sales tool, because you're effectively having to pay Facebook, who owns the data, to access those consumers who are your fans. If you actually own first-party data on your consumers, you're able to monetize your first-party data, not only for yourself, but also for your partnerships department. So the ticketing systems in place have not done a good enough job of helping teams and venues cultivate audience and first-party data that they can use to monetize their fan base and build, you know, customer profiles and create packages and different price points that are going to be more compelling to the consumer.
So we got to change it up a little bit, Nate. You know, you are an alumnus, so I got to ask you a random alumni question, which is a favorite memory of yours from your time in St. Louis.
But my 21st birthday, I went out with some friends, went out to dinner in Dogtown. I still remember it to this day, and then ended up at in the University City and got to spend the evening with Marshall Faulk. So when I was on campus, it was the greatest show on turf. And like there was a handful of things that I benefited from. One being the Domino's pizza chain, which wasn't the St. Louis style pizza that I came to appreciate and love, but they had a screaming deal where they give $1 off for every touchdown the Rams would score. So I'd get my Domino's pizza delivered for basically no cost pretty much every Monday after Rams games. So those are two fond memories of my experience in St. Louis. Wash U, I think the thing that I took away from my experience on campus was the friendships. I think a lot of people, when they think about their college experience, it's about, you know, being a part of and going back to college for, you know, big football games and big basketball games. The beauty of Wash U is that everybody kind of scattered into the wind. And then for my job, traveling all over the country, calling on different executives for different sports properties, I almost have somebody that I can lean into as a network in markets all over the country. So it's been a little bit of a godsend in my new role, and then having a much more expansive network and not just focused in a single market.
Well, it's a great Marshall Faulk story. And by the way, you caught him back when at the height of his powers. I mean, I remember those days as well, when there used to be a Jay Bucks in Clayton. And that was usually on a Friday night. If you want to see Marshall Faulk, just go to Jay Bucks. And sure enough, he'd be there having an adult beverage a couple nights before.
Might have had an adult beverage that night. It was
yes, I'm sure.
September, well, so it was before the season had kicked off.
Nate, thank you so much for your time today. It's great to connect with an alum, and keep doing great things at TIXR. We'll be on the lookout for you.
I appreciate this, and look forward to talking with you and the students in the future.